So you went from a 19 production coach to a 15 Newell?
15 Newell. This is movie industry cable in here. The best of the best. And I say that because that drove me insane with a production coach. When you start interacting with a Newell team, you just it sounds like I'm gushing over it, and I am. Because you fall in love with them. This is actually always great, and then I have a backup of good after that. In case
Yes,
it's not fake, it's genuine. They really do care about the customer. I'm going to do something that you can edit out if you choose, but I'm going to flush the headmaster toilet. But you'll notice on this coach, 8 years old, this is what I want to harp on, is because this coach is so well made, this has got 60,000 miles, it's 8 years, and Andrew, I'm telling you, I challenge you to find things that are just like fatigued out. I don't hear you talk too much about it, Andrew, but these coaches are...
Today I found a Newell coach owner that is the most passionate Newell coach owner that I've ever met, and he's going to share a ton of information with us today. Everybody, let me introduce you to Steve.
Hey, hi everybody. Hi Andrew, how are you doing?
Excellent. The first time that I met Steve, you were just taking delivery of your Newell coach. You had a production motorhome before. That was about 9 months ago now, or?
Yeah, last November.
So how is this Newell coach compared to the production coach that I saw you in the first time I met you?
You know, there's no comparison. The reason why I'm so passionate about the Newell is it just keeps getting better and better. And I spent about 3 weeks at the factory going through it, you know, with a fine-tooth comb when I first took it delivery, and it kept getting better every single time I'd open a door, every single time I'd look in some mechanical spot. I just continue to be wowed, and I wanted Newell to overcome all those production coach features, flaws, and shortcomings, and they just keep delivering and delivering and delivering. So one of the things I enjoy so much about the Newell coaches, it seems like their whole theme is to give ultimate customer service and keep the ball rolling, if you will. Everything's built redundantly with backups, with 24/7, 365 support, and I've needed to use it, and that's critical because I just don't want to be dead in the water. And I'd like to show you a bunch of things that have been deal changers for me compared to the production line of coaches.
Yeah, we were talking about some of those. So do you want to show us a few things that your Newell coach has different than your production coach did?
Yeah, why not? I'd like to. Let's hop inside.
Sounds good.
Now, you know, one thing that Newell's famous for is they use air doors throughout, and they also have air seals, and so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you know, the durability, the ruggability, it's from the moment you push that air door and this thing opens up, you know, it's like tour bus quality. It's so bulletproof, but it's so smooth. So everything is so strong, but it's so smooth. And you walk in here and everything seems to be in the right spot. And that's because they engineer things. And I think the reason why everything is so well engineered is because they have this two-way feedback between the customer service, and the production. They're so close. You know, they're 150 feet away. So if something pops up that doesn't work right, they stop, they make an adjustment, and they move on. So if we turn here, obviously for those of you that have seen some of my my YouTube stuff, I'm a real tech nut, but I'm also a mechanic nut too. I like things to work well. I like them to be ergonomic, and I like quality. And Newell builds that all in. And you know, you pay for it. Obviously, this stuff isn't free, but they don't care because the customer wants something of good quality. So take, for example, this is a Needler Air Ride seat.
Yes, sir.
This is a trucker's seat, okay? And I mean, it doesn't look like a trucker's seat, but this is designed to go into million-mile trucks. Spare no expense. And let me tell you, just driving the production coach versus this, I didn't think I'd ever, with a bad back, I didn't think I'd ever be able to turn easily 8-hour days. I don't like to turn 8-hour days, but this makes it really easy to do. So the other thing is too, that one of the things that it kind of exasperated me with the production coaches is while the cockpit was okay and they built in features, this Newell is designed with things that just make this coach ride and handle so much better. It has easy steer. Other coaches may have easy steer.
Did your previous coach had easy
It
steer?
had, it had a version of comfort steer. And
Yeah.
if I told you, you'd know what coach I was
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
But easy steer is Newell's, and it works phenomenally. Obviously, it just takes all the effort out of steering, or you can stiffen it up and it makes it a nice tight feel. But this does have the comfort and the sport mode for ZF active suspension. And you might think that's like a sales hype or anything. It is not. It actuates, it adjusts. I don't know the actual times per second, but it's constantly making adjustments. And the first time I drove this home through the windy curves on the freeway, and I hit some curves that I said, oh wow, I got to really slow down. And all of a sudden, the Newell coach, even though it's 62,000 pounds, it flattened out, straightened out, and it was just a wow moment. It was wow. I just couldn't believe how solid and stable it is.
We may hear a couple noises. You got guys walking around on the roof of your motorhome right now. What are they fixing?
Well, part of the thing, okay, now remember, this is a 2015.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking about a coach that she's going on 8 years old. We don't talk about her age so much, but she's 8 years old. And in the RV world, I think it's a lot more than dog years. So I'm pretty fastidious because I like to, there's several things I'm really passionate about. If I'm going to pay money for a coach, that's hard-earned money. I want it to be right, work right, and I don't want to screw something up because either I don't know how to work it or I haven't fixed it or maintained it. So I'm pretty particular. So right now, they're right above us because when I do my routine maintenance checks, I notice that my air conditioner, it's 7 years old, it's on the roof, but you'll notice on this coach, 8 years old, this is what I want to harp on, is because this coach is so well made. This has got 60,000 miles, it's 8 years, and Andrew, I'm telling you, I challenge you to find things that are just like fatigued out. You're not going to find it on this coach. So they're up there on the air conditioning, and this coach had some time in the south, and it has probably some rust on some of the brackets on the condenser unit on the actual fan unit of the air conditioning, and the special spacers that they use to make things hold stable and stop rattling and keep the shrouds evenly spaced. Newell's going to come over and they say, hey, well, we got some techs. Let's go out and check your air conditionings for you. And we're here at a rally, and I can tell you, they're just like, what do you need? What do you need to have done? Let's send some techs over. And so they're doing that for me. They're also servicing my AquaHot. So I like to keep these things running, and these guys help you do that. So
awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to explain any noise that the folks may hear. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting them, but they're like woodpeckers, and they're bees on honey, boy. You got a little problem, and they're on it
with a good attitude as well.
They're phenomenal, and this is why I say is when you start interacting with a Newell team, you just fall. It sounds like I'm gushing over it, and I am, because you fall in love with them. I've told them last night at a dinner, they have a meshing with their own company. They have their meshing with their own clients. And when you're in a group together, you just don't see a difference. And it's not fake, it's genuine. They really do care about the customer. And I think actually the customer is kind of a part of their success team because they take that feedback. And that's a huge difference from the production side. I see a real disconnect from making a production coach, and you can gripe about something that could literally be fixed like that. And it's almost as if it's not maybe they don't care. It's the fact that they just don't have time to stop production when they're cranking out 10 to 15 coaches a day. When Newell was, cranking out 24 to 28
a year.
Per year. So, these coaches right now, they're just working hard to make these turn out in 8 months, right?
Yeah.
So you have a big difference. But, you could sit there, we could spend probably 2 hours going through every screw. But seems funny, but screws are my pet peeve. These things shake and rattle, but this coach is so solid. I haven't found as many screws loose. In fact, I have found no screws loose in comparison to the other production coach. My first day brought it home, I had to replace about 15 bay door screws that were broken, stripped, and a bunch more screws that were just falling down everywhere.
Wow. And what year was your production coach?
19.
So you went from a 19 production coach to a 15 Newell?
15 Newell.
Wow.
And that I had the other one, the 19, for 2 years.
Did you get it brand new?
I did.
Wow. So you had a coach with 0 miles with 15 screws falling out.
Well, it had a few miles to get
by
delivered
that
to California.
Yeah. So,
but there were problems were already started. Things were falling off in that transit, and that's when I went, we might have a problem here. So,
Well, it looks like the Newell's helped solve the problem. So what else? I want to just point the camera around because you've got such a beautiful coach here. And
thank you.
what else is going on? And I also got to commend you. This is similar to my setup, the GoPro camera with a little computer.
No competition
Oh
here.
no, but you have done some really cool stuff on YouTube, really going in
Right.
depth with some of the stuff you've done to your coach. But what else are the big differences between this coach and your production coach?
So look at the engineering here. Do you see any ducting, Andrew? Do you see any air conditioning ducting? Do
No,
you see
sir.
those center pods? Look at the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah.
You see them? They're not
No,
there.
sir.
So Newell is ingenious. These guys, they do stuff like this. Like, this is so buried. And I also want to point out throughout here, these are kind of basically marine grade latches, and they do that a lot in this coach. And I realized that first in. I was trying to find some replacements, and I couldn't find them. Well, these are really well known in the marine industry. A lot of the stuff, the hardware they use here is on a yacht. But look at the job, the fit, the finish.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is, look at this, Andrew. Everything is tucked in. They didn't have to do this.
Yeah, look
This
at that.
leather that's turned in here, they did not have to. But
They
that's
could have
all-
hid that. Yes, sir.
It could have been a raw edge. And believe me, in a production coach, it's a raw edge. You've talked about it dozens of times, the piano hinge or the continuous, as some of the hardware guys will say, it's a continuous hinge. Whatever the case is, it's known as a piano hinge. But I want to point out, these are the ducts, okay? You can see the ducts, but look, the black panel in here hides that. So when you're sitting down in here, you're looking around and you just got air, and there's 4 air conditioners in here, and they're all duct. The crossovers are ducted so that you get crossover air, so you don't really have a cold spot or a hot spot. And it's just like, I saw it that one day and I went, wow. And you just keep pulling things out and seeing things. Let me show you something else that is just, you'd say, well, this is really stupid nitpicky. Look down here. When I was connecting, I said, gee, wouldn't it be nice if this desk had a plug back there rather
Yeah.
than the top? Look at back there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh, and this is the thing about Newell, is what I did, I actually wrote things down, because as I was finding things out, I said, this is crazy. And I just wrote a list of things I love about Newell, because they do stuff like that. Because it's like, hey, we need to have a plug. But the plug, you'll notice when you have computer cords, you need to put a place for all your cord, your exit. Well, they put a little tray right underneath that. And you say, well, that's kind of stupid. I could do that myself. You don't have to. The Newell has it. So a well-lit coach, we've got like, I think there's 100 LED puck lights. They're all zoned. They're all on dimmers. They can go infinitely dim. I can hold the buttons down. And, you know, I think you might have seen my YouTube. This coach is probably the only older coach that has Alexa integration. So
You want to show it off for us a little bit?
I can. So we got just dozens of lights in here turned on, and you know, we got bay doors, and we want to maybe go to bed at night. So I say, Alexa, good night. She says good night, sweet dreams.
I love it.
I like that. So that's a routine I built into Alexa. So you say, well, you're pretty lazy. Well, maybe, but I like automation. And what this does is it puts on a timer. It goes and it locked my front door, locked my bay door, turned my undercoach lights off, put on my valances so I can walk back safely to the back of the coach, turned on my floor lights, dropped the shades, and then turned off all the salon, the galley, the bedroom, and the bathroom lights. So it probably took out a whole bunch. And then in the morning when I'm getting up, I say, Alexa, good morning. She says good morning.
Yeah, I love it.
The other thing that I like, and this sounds kind of strange, but you'll be driving down the road, and I did this one time. I was at night, and it was a rainstorm. I kept seeing a reflection out, and I realized, oh, my undercoach lights were left on. So I didn't want to stop, so I just had Alexa turn my undercoach lights off.
Very
so
cool.
It's actually, I found out, it's actually it's not a safety feature, but it's a convenient feature. I wanted the step cover retracted when I was driving. Well, I didn't have a passenger with me, so I did that with Alexa. We have things like, I have a get ready to go routine, which is a safety feature that I have. So when I tell her, let's get ready to go, she makes sure the awnings are retracted. Okay.
Very cool.
And a bunch of different things. So it's like my pre-check checklist. It just kind of takes the guesswork. And then if I just want the ultimate of like, let's get this thing lit up. I can tell her to light things up, or just say, Alexa, light master on.
Nice.
That's let there be light. And we can set mood lighting. We can say, Alexa, light master 50%. Dim all the lights, sweet darling. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it makes it really nice and convenient.
So, yeah, can you turn those back on all the way? The lights all the way?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Alexa, lights 100%. It's really minor because it's so bright right now outside.
So so talking about lighting, so what were the lights like in your production coach versus this coach?
Well, here's the thing is, people can argue, and you will get a ton of argument from people with, let's just say Chinese lights, Amazon lights. And I don't get in that argument because we all know China makes some pretty good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And me being a tech head, you too, you're going to be an idiot to sit there and say China doesn't make good lights or good circuitry, but there's differences. And so Newell uses the top grade stuff, so you don't have failures. There's 100 lights in here. I've had one puck light, and it's not out all the way. A few of the array is not lit up. But simple call to Newell, they ship one out to you, or I'll pick one up next week. So a lot of lights.
How many puck lights did your production coach have?
I think in the range of 40 or 50.
Okay, so much more lit up.
This it's lit up like a Christmas tree at night.
Yes, sir.
I think you probably see it at NASA because there's a lot of lights on these. And the Newells, that's what their brag point is beautiful windows. And I mean, it's just drop dead gorgeous, stunning when you're snuggled up to a lake as we are now, and you just got this massive amount of windows, massive amount of lights. But guess what? At night, this ribbon light of LED, it's a touch of class.
It really is.
And when I go to TV time, when Alexa gives me the TV time, TV pops up, mood light comes on, the sconces dim down. And Newell also does things that it's not just all about LEDs. They do things like these sconces are actually incandescents, and they put those on a dimmer for you. And so it's kind of nice. You can come over here and just dim them down, and they just do small little minor things that. And you're like, doggone it, they didn't have to do that. But
it makes life a little better.
Touch of class. So other things that you could put on any coach around, but it's just they put it all on the Newell. Air switch for the garbage disposal. It's a residential silent garbage disposal. I'll turn it on.
Wow.
It's silent. And it had a little bit of stuff in there. Residential fixtures, obviously production coach have it, but they spared no expense. They put in residential fixtures, and they're top quality. But here's the money shot. Now, I'm going to refresh your memory. 2015. Look at this. Look at the cabinetry. Look at the detail. There's no chips. There's no scratches. Their seams are beautiful.
I love the wood too. Beautiful.
It's a subliminal, almost a pearlescent wood tone. It's just stunning. And we got so lucky to see this. But you've talked about it before. But when you're going down the road and you've got solid carpeted cabinets, it's just mind-blowingly quiet. These are Blum Hinges.
Yeah.
There isn't a finer hinge. It's a Blum hinge. Okay. It's a residential, top of the quality. It's soft close. Okay. And every single point is got a bumper on it. They do things like in the back of this cabinet, they got an access panel. The access panel goes to the flap that opens up when you turn on the microwave.
Yeah.
Because it vents out. They thought about that. My production coach, you had to option that in. You had to tell them, I want my microwave vented to the outside. The first thing I did when I used the microwave and the stove, it stunk up the whole coach. And I'm thinking, why is this vent vented right back into your small little apartment here? It made no sense. It just drove me nuts. So if you look in here, these drawers are these are not soft close drawers, but they have a spring load so that if you're anywhere close to being closed, look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a latch that is unique, and I have to brag about this latch. This is a yacht.
Yes, sir.
Deadbolt.
Yes, sir.
This is really stupidly unique. And it took me a while to figure out how the dumb thing works. And it's ingenious. There's no moving parts practically. This has a special stainless steel interior that's basically like, you'd say vulcanized or anodized or all those ized things inside a yacht. But it's all rust-proof rust-proof stainless steel and spring mechanisms. But this little pin, this is a magnetic deadbolt. What's unique about this is when this deadbolt gets close to that receiver is magnetic. And guess what happens? It lifts that deadbolt up and pins that drawer solid. You do not have drawers opening in this coach underway. And I say that because that drove me insane with a production coach. And their answer was, we'll put another catch in there. No, guys, that's not an answer. The answer is it's not engineered correctly. And they tried a bunch of different lock latches. Those broke at trade shows because they couldn't even take the abuse of a kid opening the thing. It just drove me insane. I come in here and I go, God, thank the Newell gods, because they used a yacht. This thing has been down the road 60,000 miles, and not a single one of these is even fatigued, let alone broken.
Yeah.
So what happens as soon as you close this, that pin drives up. And guess what this does? All this does to open the drawer is it pushes that deadbolt pin down away from the magnet to give you an opportunity to pull. It's ingenious.
Yeah.
They didn't make it. Newell didn't make it. But they bought it, top of the line, yacht, and guess what? Just like we go over here, and you've seen many mid-baths,
oh, yeah,
but you've never talked about mid-baths that have a design where you don't have to collapse and fold and accordion a door. This door was designed with the slides closed to have a full width door. Not a door in which I gaffed and hooked my belt loop every time I'd come into to get into the mid-bath. I got a full thing, full swing, and look at this, Andrew.
Yeah, and I will say I have seen production coach doors that they break, actually, the half bathroom doors where I've never seen a broken mid-bath.
I don't think if you and I hung on this door, I don't think we could even spring the door. I'm going to do something that you can edit out if you choose, but I'm going to flush the headmaster toilet.
Yes, sir.
I don't think you've ever flushed a headmaster toilet.
Never.
And that's one of those things, when I did that, I came from the macerator toilet, which would have to grind up RV paper. The demo, this is a yacht grade toilet. They demo this toilet as flushing, no kidding, a pair of pantyhose down it.
So another Newell owner actually didn't want to say it on camera, but was telling me that they are so happy that they don't have to use the RV toilet paper. They can use a regular Charmin toilet paper. It's no problem. So
it sounds like we're really spoiled, but we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
But this is so powerful. I'm gonna spare you the details of it, even though it's totally clean.
Yep.
But the force.
Soft close on the toilet seat too.
Soft close, and let me tell you something. They spared no expense. This is the top grade Kohler, and again, it's top grade. It looks whisper clean, and it just doesn't get any better. They're hinges in the boom, and you can hear. I'm gonna step up closer to it on the mic. It is just so solid, you can't believe it. They do things like, I'd like to have my bathroom, when it's closed at night, be a little bit warmer. So I come in here in the bathroom at night, I'm not freezing. Separate heater, right from the AquaHot. Heater is separate for the mid-bath and the back bath. So you want a nice hot shower, bathroom, close the door, bump that thing up to 80 if you want. Oh, that's the only place that's going to get heated up. Just look at that and go, brilliant.
Yeah.
You got ventilation in here. Newell took care of that. They bring vents in here to cool this down. Yeah. They're pass-through vents. They're also vents so that you have an exhaust fan. When you turn the exhaust fan on, you can exhaust the mid part of the coach.
Nice.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, and I've just got to compliment your coach. I've never seen I guess I've seen it on video, but in person, it just really, with the two-tone, I'm noticing really a beautiful coach.
Thank you, but I can take no credit. Amber remembers this coach really well, and I gushed at it over, last night at dinner, and I said, boy, and she remembers it. And this was kind of an era of the beginning of the cooler tones, which we really warmed up to.
Well, and the new ceiling, too. This is one of my favorite ceilings.
Yeah.
And this was right around that time when they went to that new style ceiling.
Right, and so that's a good point, because do you notice it's kind of almost, I'd say, almost a hybrid, but there's something that's a signature about a Newell in here, and I'm gonna give it away. If you'll notice, Newell is famous for these curves.
Yes, sir.
I think they get that gene or genetics from yachts.
Yeah.
But they also do it because we can.
Yes, sir.
And they do that because they can, and they do it well. These are curved surfaces. Look at this from back here, Andrew. Look at the sink. Look at those doors.
Yeah. Just a very minor curve just to make it a little more difficult.
Yeah. This is a 2015. Now, it doesn't have all the LED bling that the new ones do, but they underlit this counter.
Underlit.
Which
Okay.
is sweet. And it's
You might have to send me a picture at night or make a video on your channel showing that off.
Definitely. Well, we could darken this coach down. We could show you the underlight, but it's really neat. You know, a lot of coaches have silver leaf, but the way it's integrated, I really appreciate. And when we go down the basement later, I'm going to show you something that's really unique about the way Newell wires things that I really appreciate. You know, you've talked about this before, and the washer and dryer in here, and you know, lots of coaches have washer and dryers, but the fact that the fit, the finish, I want to say another thing about what Newell does is there's no wasted space. And a lot of coaches, they don't necessarily waste space. They kind of cut corners about their extra spaces. So every niche in here has a very well thought out set of shelves. These are adjustable shelves. And if you're really sharp, they actually hide a little finger pocket. And there's actually a hidden.
Oh, look at that.
And there's
little hidden.
And that's a deep well too. So you can store anything you want down there.
Yeah, very cool.
Except your...
This bedroom is much bigger than any production coach. What else do you notice and feel in the bedroom that's different than your production coach was?
Well, I'm 6 foot and shrinking. You're 6'2".
Yes, sir.
And you and I both know that headroom counts. And cabinets that are low, so this is a thing that I noticed right away with a Newell. Those rounded surfaces, let me tell you what, when you're walking out and you do something like brush up against that, there's one thing I appreciate about rounded surfaces, but more than my shoulder, my head.
Yes, sir.
So if you'll notice here, I am not even close to hitting my head. So you don't have cabinetry down here, but you've also got a gorgeous window here too.
Oh yeah.
And it makes a big, big, big difference. And you know, I like just the discreet design of these pockets here, just enough to put glasses or a phone or a book or, you know, whatever you want. You know, we've got a lot of width in here, Andrew. That's the difference. A lot of people are starting to sacrifice hanging space. So this era of coach had a ton of full-length hanging space. But we love it because we store long things in there. And that goes all the way down. And they said, well, let's split the bottom so you have two. So great spot for workout gear, you know?
Some yoga mats there?
Sure,
nice.
Why not? My wife does Pilates right here.
Heck yeah. You've got a lot of space here for Pilates or all that good stuff.
Perfect space. And you know what? To be honest with you, we love the carpet.
Yeah.
It's warm in the winter, and we do travel in the winter. And you say, well, yeah, everybody's got a carpet. Everything got a bit of carpet in. Oh, yeah? Well, when we found out what kind of carpet this was, we went, wow. Again, top grade, spare no expense. But the fit, the finish, the seams, the cover boxes that go over all the hardware, they just box everything out nicely. They stitch everything nicely. Everything is tucked away. These gallows speakers are nicely mounted. One thing that Newell does is, and I haven't heard you talk about it much, but they have a 3D and a CNC printer. So they do a lot of printing of parts.
Yes, sir.
And just this week, they announced that they actually 3D printed a coupler for an extension for their the sewer hose, so they can extend it without having to just do a clamp and a loose fit. They actually 3D printed a bayonet mount for a Camco. And you know, there's lots of extra spaces in here. But more than spaces, look what they did up here. This could be another audio video cabinet. So they put in lots of plugs.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm super clean, streamlined, because right now I've got my audio video receiver here and an Apple TV. And I stream everything through that. And it just works seamlessly.
Nice.
Yeah. And they do the tech part with Dwayne running that tech department is just phenomenal. And that guy, I love him. He and I, we get our propellers spinning. And the way they've engineered this coach with the networking and the audio visual connections, you know, you think, wow, this is 7 years ago, but I'll show you that front cabinet, and it's a wow moment for me, especially.
Yes, sir.
The other thing that is really neat about Newell as we walk through is we had some aging decorations, and so we got together with Becky, who went into her design closet and FaceTimed with my wife back in California, and we freshened things up a little bit.
Yeah, new comforter and stuff.
Well, actually, this was all, believe this is original, but she brought in new accent pieces for us.
Okay.
And so it just freshened things up. My wife fell in love with that. We got new fresh flowers and stuff like that.
Can we do something with the light? Can the lights in here get lighter? What's all going on back here, sir?
Well, you know, they just build things ruggedly, and you know, everybody can put in you know, a high quality sink. But again, you got to look in here in this fit and finish. One thing to point out is this coach is custom. You're not going to find another complete set of this color combo unless someone came in here and said, I want to copy it. But they look at details, and they look at that and they, well, let's not have a thermostat out here and looking ugly. So they just do something really simple. And they do this all over the coach. They hide things. This is something that for the electricians, the mechanic nuts, and the fastidious, and the quality appreciators, this is the big game changer. They just lay the electric and electronics out in a Newell like nobody else. So clean, and for the people who want to keep, you know, their electrical system clean, it just doesn't get any better than this. And it's just awesome.
Yeah. Want to show us that electronics cabinet real quick that you had mentioned?
Yep.
And you worked with Dwayne on this?
I did. Rolling?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Newell and other coaches do put electronics together, but it's how they're wired and it's how clean they're wired that makes a big difference to me. It's also space to do stuff with. So this is basically the guts of the electronic system up here. And I spent some time updating it, cleaning it up a little bit, and I put my new wireless router up here, and we put in a CPU down here so that we can communicate back to Newell, to the mothership if we ever need to, and we can do some updates online. And it's just clean, it's beautiful, it's to me it's simple, but you can trace things through. But I want to point something else out. Anybody who knows electronics knows they get brutally hot, especially on this front bonnet. They've actually plumbed air conditioning in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's vented. So that's a really cool thing. And you know, it just makes it so nice. It really does.
Yeah, you want to go outside and show us some of the differences outside?
Let's go outside, and I'm going to just point something as we go outside. It makes no difference. It does not make the coach ride any better or drive any better, but I will tell you little touches of class. Again, that 3D printing stuff. You'll notice on their subwoofer up here.
That's a subwoofer?
That's a big old subwoofer.
Nice.
And it's no downstream subwoofer. That's a big, high quality subwoofer with a big amp. But you'll notice a little touch of class. They have a engraved screen across the front that says Newell on it.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Outside of the coach, what's some of the stuff that's different than your production coach?
Okay, so listen, in a production coach, I think every coach nowadays has a generator, not this generator. And I could talk specs. That's really important because you got to run four air conditioners. You got to run an aqua hot electric. You got to run your microwave. You got to run your washer and dryer if you choose. And that takes a lot of energy, so much energy that you can't even use a normal 15 amp circuit. But Newell has that covered because when you turn something on inside, it shuts other things down so that it won't blow or overload your system. But I want to show what they do with this generator. So it's a little bit of a backbreaker to lean down, but I want to point something out that isn't really harped on enough. And when I saw this, I kind of went, gee, I wonder. Okay, I think you've touched on the fact that these generators are on air pucks.
Yes,
so
sir.
look at this. I can't tell you how much quieter this is inside a Newell coach. This is so well cushioned. And I noticed that I was reading the manuals, as I do. These are supposed to be inflated to a certain inflation. So I came back out, I said, I wonder how I do that. Well, guess what? Here's the thing. Newell, air. They've wired and teed and with a regulator air into each 4 of these pucks. You never have to touch it.
Wow.
It's automatically inflated all the time. Is that cool or what?
That's incredible. You learn. I keep learning more and more about these incredible machines.
Yep, and they did it right. They put an automatic fire extinguisher in. You could do that on other coaches, but they've done it for you. It's just, I mean, look at the thing. It's got 1,300 hours.
That's a heavy-duty piece of equipment right there. I know.
It's overbuilt.
Yeah, I know.
And
yeah.
They can actually not only power your coach, they can actually have a buddy plug. And if you choose to power somebody up next to you, you can. You can power up a trailer next to you, and it's covered. I want to show, what I want to do now, Andrew, is I want to go around really quickly. I want to show you some of the level of detail that they do on a Newell. And I want to show the bay door construction. I want to point out something that you haven't touched on much, but one of the big bugaboos with me on the production coach was the bay doors. Instantly, every day, right from the beginning, I had bay door problems. I had struts that were misdrilled, struts that were broken. I had latches, and there's a phenomenon in these bay doors that make you locked out of your bay doors. And when you're locked out of your bay doors, life stops if you're a dog and your dog food's back there.
Yeah.
So I want to show you something that Newell did, and they told me about it, and I went, God, you guys they really impressed me. One of the problems with bay doors is the latches have to be firm enough to hold the door closed, but light enough to be able to open it up. Well, guess what these are? You've seen push button, right? These are actually electric paddles.
Yeah.
So you notice all I do is just gently lift it, and it releases electric latch in the back, and it unlocks. So let's look at this bay. It's a continuous hinge. It's never going to warp. It's never going to fail. This hinge up here is actually a solid contiguous strip of rubber. It's a high-grade rubber, and it's quiet, it's waterproof, and it holds that door's top seam, and then they bifold it to get it up out of the way so it's not hanging past the slide. And you've seen the rollers. We're not going to go through that, but I want to focus on the fact that this is stainless steel. You're not having rust problems. Look at the hardware they've used. We haven't even so much as adjusted or tightened these. They're done back here. You can see, guess what? They're all lock nutted. They're not going to come loose. This stuff is bomb-proof. It just is done with just every thought. They've got backups, they've got safety, they've got door releases back here in case for some reason you lose air and you can't open your door. You got a safety release that you can open your door. It's just really well thought out. Now, down here, you've gone in back here, but I want to start talking about one of the things that I noticed immediately on a Newell. Redundancy. Redundancy, redundancy. That's like deja vu all over again. This back here, you've pointed out before, those are just not inverters. Those are about the best inverters you could buy, and there's two of them. Okay, you've got load management centers, you've got backups upon backups, all your air lines here. I want you to look at the air lines. Look at how this is 2015, and they're still doing it even cleaner than 2015. The bundling, the wiring, and I told you I was going to talk about the spider stuff here. I haven't heard you talk about this much, but this whole fuse panel here has override switches. If anything in the spider system you want to turn on manually, you can come right down here, look at the indicator chart, and flip a spider on manually.
Yeah.
Completely bypassing the switches. And that's really great stuff. So look under here, and this is a mechanic's dream. This is the back end of the plumbing bay, but this is the aquat. And I want to keep harping on it. It's a 2015, 60,000 miles. This is a 7 to 8 year coach. I want to point out redundancy. That's a heater, okay? That's a backup 110 heater so that you can keep your bay. They obviously have thermostats back here to get the hot to keep your bay from freezing. They've also done things that in a Newell is so different is it's a big coach. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but look how accessible. I changed my sewer hose here a month or two ago to a newer sewer hose, and it was right there, right where I needed to get it. And it's just, they didn't have to do it that way, but they did it, and I appreciate it because it's just easier to get to. They do things like the fuel door camera you've talked about, but they've also built in safeguards. Like right now, I couldn't even move my slide. Try that in another coach. That slide will not move. They got safety interlocks. With bay door open, slide's not moving.
Yep.
Here's another redundancy. They've got a backup charger here. It's a chassis charger. So if I want to, at home, I want to charge my chassis, I can do that. Up here, this is called a doubler, okay? A doubler or a multiplier. What that does is that multiplies the air so you can run high pressure and you can start your engine up and you can fill up all your tires. So guess what I don't have on my rig anymore? A portable, expensive air compressor. Because I have one right here.
Yes,
a
sir.
62,000 pound one.
Yes, sir.
This is really clean, but I also want to point out the redundancy in here. So you've got two inverters, both individually broken. You've got a master disconnect here. Look at this. This is movie industry cable in here. The best of the best. These big old giant plugs, beautiful trays of batteries. These are Lifeline AGM batteries. They were just replaced. I'm good for another long time, 7 years perhaps. These pull out on a tray. This is not like some muscle tray that I had to literally do some bench presses before I'd pull them out. These pull out with basically, when you take these two lock nuts out, you just pull them out with one finger. It's awesome. Redundancy, fill on the right side. I just got complimented by a trucker last week when I was filling up. He goes, "You got your def right where the fuel tank is?" I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Boy, I wish I'd do that on my truck."
Yeah.
And you know, you think that's a stupid, spoiled temper tantrum when you go to a fuel stop. It is a pain in the butt when you got to move your coach even 3 feet forward and you can't. So they plan that out. There's a lot of stuff to talk about in the Newell's engine bay, but you know, every coach has an engine. But it's just, again, the way Newell has done their fit, finish, their actual configuration, and again, redundancy. So you can come back and you can override start systems and ignition systems to do diagnostics, and what's more important is if you have a system failure, they can walk you through an override procedure and get you on the road. That's redundancy, and I like that.
Yes, sir. Beautiful colors too.
So let's open up the wet bay. This is a big game changer because, you know, it's such a, you know, it's such a frequently used bay that it's so clean, but it's so functional. You know, their Wastemaster sewer hose is second to none. It just works phenomenal. They've pocketed in this nice channel here, and everything is clean. So look in here. Here's the other thing, and you've mentioned on it before, but once again, look at this. Look at the couplings in here. Look at the finishes, but more importantly, look how everything is leak-free. There's not a single drip, not a single remnant of a drip. Everything is tight, and that is the top of the line, the best of the best. Water pump, that's the Mach 5 from Headhunter, puts out gushes of pressure. It is 110. What happens if that goes and fails? You've got that 12-volt backup that I've heard you talk about before. But
What did your production coach have?
just had a standard water pump.
Nothing like this Headhunter
No.
or
Just a
Mach
standard
5.
water-
Yeah.
No, just you know, something similar to that.
Yes, sir.
And you know, it was good when it was good.
Yeah.
But this is always good. This is actually always great. And then I have a backup of good after that in case
Yes,
something
sir.
in case something doesn't work. But that also is run on a pressure tank, so that when it charges up, it has a massive amount of residual pressure, so you have a nice constant water pressure source. So the last thing I want to show you up here is, you've mentioned it before, but it's super important because I mentioned before, the Newell is all run on air. There's air doors, the front door's air, you've got the air seat, the air ride seat, you've got air suspension, right? But you've also got air seals. Now the air seals inflate and cushion around the slide. They also vacuum using air. So this coach uses a lot of air. That's why you should run the engine to exhaust the air from the seals when you're bringing the slides in or out. But all day to day, you still have to have the air system filled, because this coach, if you'll notice, I don't hear you talk too much about it, Andrew, but these coaches are leveled on the bags.
Yeah.
So there's no physical hydraulic jacks that hit the ground. These are always constantly seeking level, whether they're driving or parked. So it's in the park mode, auto. So it uses airbags to level, and it'll level the coach. It also keeps the residual tanks filled up, and it does that again with dual air compressors down here. And so you have backups. So you don't have to worry about having a failure of one air compressor because you've got a full redundant backup. And they've even done a smart thing, which is they've given you a compressor switch to bypass and go to the left compressor for a while, exercise that for a few months, and then switch over to the other one. Just really cool. They've given you another load center here that splits up some more 12-volt stuff. There's a lot of emergency stuff in here that you can get to override and keep yourself going. So it's just, you know, like I said, there's so much redundancy in these coaches to keep them going, and then when something goes bump in the middle of the night, I don't care what time you've talked about it for, call their number up, they're there, they pick up. I've called them a couple times for a serious question, and I had recently a mechanical problem, and they called me in 13 minutes and walked me right through it, and boom, I was back on the road. And that to me is so important. Having all this redundancy is super important, and the quality, the fit and the finish, the attention to detail. That's why I keep gushing about them.
Well, Steve, I can't thank you enough. I actually learned a lot today. Really appreciate your passion for Newell Coach, and really incredible to see your coach. Can't thank you enough for taking the time to share this with myself and the folks out on YouTube. I'll make sure to leave a link to your channel in the description below.
That's great.
I also greatly appreciate all of you out there on YouTube subscribing to the channel and liking these videos. I hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.
Bye, folks. Thanks for watching.